I never expected Thanksgiving to end like this. I'm Gina Roberts, 30, and as soon as I stepped into my parents' grand dining room in Weston, Massachusetts, I felt the tension, thick and suffocating, hanging in the air like a storm waiting to break. My mom's eyes locked onto me, cold and sharp, and her voice cut through the room. "Go away. Gina, there's no place for you here." For a moment, I froze, the words sinking in like ice. My heart pounded. But I didn't argue or plead. I just stared, searching for some sign that this was a cruel joke. There was none. Around me, muffled chuckles floated through the room. My relatives, my siblings, all watching with that smug amusement that made my skin crawl. I clenched my jaw, refusing to give them the satisfaction of seeing me tremble. Without another word, I grabbed my coat and walked out, each step echoing louder than the laughter behind me. The crisp autumn air hit me like a mix of freedom and punishment. I didn't call anyone, didn't text anyone. I needed space, clarity, and a moment to breathe. Even as I walked away, her words kept looping in my mind, burning. "There's no place for you here." What did that even mean? How could someone who raised me say something like that? The anger, the disbelief, and the sting of betrayal melded into a knot I couldn't untangle. A week later, my phone rang. My mom, her voice frantic and screaming, $50,000. "Please, save this family." I smiled and said, "Which family?" And yet, this was only the beginning. What happened next would make every ounce of tension in that room feel like the calm before a storm. Before I go any further, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because what happened in the days that followed completely upended everything I thought I knew about my family. You won't want to miss a second of it. The seeds of that family fracture had been sown long before. In the polished life we led in Weston, our home there stood as a symbol of rigid excellence, sprawling grounds, formal gatherings, where social status dictated every move. Dad had established Roberts Financial Group near Boston years ago, molding it into a beacon of trust and profit. In our world, achievement was non-negotiable, woven into daily routines like the charity drives and elite networks that defined us. The pressure shaped us, turning vulnerability into a taboo. Mom orchestrated it all, from board positions to impeccable hosting, enforcing a code where flaws stayed buried. "Keep it internal," she'd instruct, stifling any display of doubt. Her influence was constant, her events a showcase of control. Zachary thrived in this environment, transitioning effortlessly from prestigious schooling to a key role at the firm. His unwavering adherence made him the model child, rarely facing the scrutiny I endured. His success felt effortless, widening the gap between us. Marketing captivated me early on, though Dad viewed it as secondary. "Not the heart of business," he'd comment during family meals, his disapproval evident in his tone. The criticism lingered, but I pushed forward, earning my degree and entering the firm handling client communications. 6 years of dedication elevated me to directing strategies, forging connections that felt like my own victories. Yet, unease surfaced 8 months prior. While assembling a client overview, discrepancies emerged, account flows that violated standard patterns, raising immediate alarms. The anomalies jumped out, inconsistent with normal operations. Approaching Dad seemed logical, a chance for clarity. He examined the printouts briefly before dismissing them with a wave. "I manage these directly. Concentrate on your visuals, Gina, and defer to specialists for the essentials." His abruptness jarred me, igniting initial suspicions that something was amiss. The conversation left a bitter taste, his defensiveness unusual. Restrictions followed swiftly, database privileges revoked. Zachary commandeering my responsibilities, persistent probes elicited defensiveness or outright rebukes, eroding my position and confidence. The atmosphere shifted, meetings becoming battlegrounds where my voice faded. Kendra Lee emerged as my anchor amid the turmoil. A bond forged in college through shared trials and triumphs. Mom welcomed her enthusiastically, integrating her into our circle with remarks on how naturally she belonged. Starting in accounts post my arrival, Kendra wove into both professional and personal spheres, attending Weston weekends and celebrations. Her familiarity a rare comfort in the growing isolation. Uncle Anthony Roberts provided a contrasting perspective, serving as Dad's sibling and legal overseer. He championed progressive approaches, occasionally vouching for my contributions in tense discussions. Your angle invigorates the setup, he'd contend, offering a glimmer of validation. However, his advocacy diminished lately, replaced by a guarded stance that aligned with the escalating undercurrents, leaving me to navigate the storm alone. The suspicion from that client win finally broke me. I walked into Dad's office and slid my resignation across the desk. "I'm going my own way," I said, keeping my tone even. He stared, then nodded without a word, his silence heavier than any outburst. Setting up Roberts Marketing Solutions in Cambridge brought a rush of independence. I converted a spare room into an office, diving into pitches and building on the relationships I'd nurtured. The solitude hit hard at times, but the autonomy fueled me, a stark contrast to the firm's suffocating structure. Family pushback erupted fast. Mom's phone went straight to voicemail, her absence a clear message. Zachary's emails accused me of sabotage, labeling my move as selfish destruction. Dad's voice messages threatened court over stolen clients. His rage building until lawyers stepped in and silenced him. The attacks left scars. But I stood firm. Janice Moore offered a lifeline amid the storm. We grabbed coffee in Cambridge, her updates cutting through the isolation. "They're raging," she said softly, "but the firm's atmosphere is off. People are on edge." Her insights hinted at deeper troubles, validating my lingering doubts. Thanksgiving approached as Mom's signature event, a polished ritual of togetherness. I held on to the hope of inclusion, despite the chill. "Calling to verify." Her response was curt. "Same time as always. Look presentable." The edge in her voice lingered, but I focused on reconciliation. Morning arrived with cautious optimism. I baked Dad's pecan pie using Grandma's recipe, the scent evoking faded warmth. Choosing a sweater and skirt Mom had praised before, I added minimal makeup to meet her standards. Packing the pie and a wine bottle from a contact, I whispered Dad's old line, "Family above all." The Cambridge to Weston drive spanned 25 minutes, giving space to plan dialogue Zachary's recent trip, Mom's arrangements, light chat with Uncle Anthony, no mention of work. Arriving on our street, the overflow of vehicles unsettled me. Kendra's SUV caught my eye first, unusual without coordination. Zachary's truck, Uncle Anthony's car, and others from connections lined the curb, parking nearby. I collected my items and headed to the stone house, pulse accelerating. Sounds of merriment escaped as I climbed the steps. Through glass, figures moved in soft light. Shifting the pie, I pressed the bell, steadying my breath. Quiet fell inside. Steps approached. The door revealed Mom and Dad, expressions frozen. Mom in her pearl ensemble, Dad in tie and jacket. "Gina," Dad stated coolly. "What's this, Thanksgiving?" I answered. Mom said it's on. Mom's fingers tightened on the edge. "A mix-up. No spot for you." The impact stunned me. Inside, the room sparkled with silverware and glass. Mom's autumn display centered the table. Eyes turned Zachary composed, Uncle Anthony holding a glass. Kendra claiming my chair. Hushed stares varied unease, interest, triumph from Kendra and Zachary. "But the pie," I stammered, absurdity dawning. "Dad loves it." "Unrequired," Dad dismissed. "Everything's set." The setup sank in intentional banishment, Kendra's elevation. Pain twisted but resolve held. I left the Weston house without looking back, reaching my Cambridge apartment. The dam broke. I set the pie down, its sweetness now cloying, and sank into the chair. Echoes of their laughs rang in my ears, each one a fresh wound. The exclusion wasn't just words, it was erasure. Years of connection snapped in seconds. Betrayal pulsed through me, hot and unrelenting. Austin showed up minutes later, sensing the crisis from my text. "Tell me everything," he urged, wrapping an arm around me. I spilled the scene, the dismissal, the mockery, Kendra's placement. His face darkened with anger. "They don't deserve you. This ends their hold." His quiet solidarity eased the isolation, reminding me of strength outside that toxic circle. We sat talking, his encouragement cutting through the fog. Days blurred in numbness. I buried myself in client calls for Robert's marketing solutions, but concentration faltered. Messages flooded from extended family, some feigning concern with "Are you okay?" probes, others outright blaming my defiance. Zachary's note sneered, "Your choice, your loss. Don't come crying." Kendra offered nothing, her quiet confirming complicity in the divide. Uncle Anthony texted vaguely, "Call when you're ready to discuss." I deleted it. Too raw for half measures, the pain still sharp. 1 week on. My phone vibrated. Mom, her pitch frantic, almost hysterical. "Gina, $50,000 urgently, save this family." The audacity stunned me, but a grim satisfaction rose. "Which family?" I answered coolly, disconnecting before her stuttered response. The plea exposed their vulnerability, linking straight to the firm's shadows I'd sensed. Why the sudden cash need? It screamed desperation from unresolved issues. Austin nodded as I fetched the concealed files from behind the bookshelf. "This is it," he said, helping sort them. We arranged them methodically on the table. Ledgers revealed mismatched entries, funds shuffled to conceal gaps in older accounts. Performance summaries inflated gains artificially, luring fresh capital to patch old deficits, a deceptive cycle endangering innocent investors' savings. Personal threads stung worse. Dad's directive to Zachary: "Seal Gina's file views immediately." Reply sorted, Kendra's monitoring her probes closely. Her disloyalty pierced detailed logs of my queries, clever reroutes in our casual talks. A confidential section held damning evidence of her and Zachary's liaison. Candid shots from the lake property showing unguarded intimacy. The intimacy clarified her favored status at the table, turning our friendship into a calculated tool. Austin's grip tightened on my shoulder. "They orchestrated this from the start." Fury solidified my path, the revelations fueling an unshakable drive. I dialed Nicholas Green's number, the SEC acquaintance from our law school years. Our alumni reunion chat had touched on such irregularities lightly. "Solid proof, shifts tides completely," he'd noted then, handing his card. He picked up, background festive with holiday chatter. "Gina, happy holidays. What's so urgent?" "The issues I mentioned at the mixer. I'm ready to proceed fully." He moved somewhere private, his tone grave. "Tomorrow morning, 8 sharp at my office. Bring every piece you have." Hanging up. Anticipation mingled with finality washed over me. The steps sealed fates beyond reversal. But their actions had stripped away any lingering loyalty or doubt. Nicholas agreed to meet the next day, at his office. I laid out the files, my hands steady despite the stakes. He scanned them, brow furrowing. "This looks serious. Gina, offshore routing, inflated metrics, classic signs of misrepresentation." We discussed next steps. He promised swift review. Leaving, relief mixed with dread, the machine was in motion. Back home, emails from the family poured in, escalating in tone. Moms begged, "Retract whatever you've done. We're family." Zachary's threatened, "You'll ruin us all." Dad's commanded, "Call now to fix this mistake." Kendra's attempted reconciliation. "Misunderstanding, let's talk." I ignored them, the pleas ringing hollow after their actions. The firm descended into disarray. News alerts flashed, SEC probes, Roberts Financial Group on fraud claims. Trading halted, accounts locked. Colleagues messaged in panic. Office locked down, computers seized. An emergency board call canceled abruptly. Uncle Anthony's note warned, "They're pinning it on you, be cautious." That evening, knocking echoed, peaking. I saw the family clustered, Mom pale, Dad disheveled, Zachary fuming, Kendra trailing. Austin stood ready beside me. I opened the door. Dad burst in. "What have you unleashed?" "Retract it now." Mom clutched his arm. "Not here, neighbors." They piled inside, tension thick. "Explain how you'll undo this," Dad demanded. Voice low but intense. "Call your contact, claim error. We can contain it." "Undo truth," I countered. "Documented deceptions, fund misuse, even my trust invaded." Mom paled further. "Think of our standing, the boards. Connections, decades built. Loyalty means protecting that." "Loyalty," I echoed bitterly. "Like accessing my funds without permission, excluding me while seating my betrayer." Zachary interjected, "Pressure forced choices. Market dips in 2019 we adjusted to survive. Small at first. Then it snowballed." "Quiet, Zachary," Dad snapped. "She might record us." I nearly laughed. "No need, the evidence stands alone." Kendra stepped forward, eyes teary. "Gina, this impacts everyone's staff jobs, client savings. Resolve quietly." Her hypocrisy ignited me. "You spied for them, reported my worries, all while with Zachary. Enjoyed the game." Her face crumpled. "It wasn't planned. Zachary and I. It grew. I didn't mean harm." Uncle Anthony entered last, nodding to me. "They're scrambling. SEC froze assets already. Call your lawyer." Dad turned manipulative. "You touch those accounts, implication possible. Cooperate, we shield you. Otherwise, our defense shifts." "Fabrications won't hold," I replied. "My records show blocked access. No signatures on transfers." Mom tried appeal. "We can cover shortfalls, rebuild, return. Take a bigger role, whatever you want." "Too late," I said. "Authorities have it all." Dad offered bluntly, "Name your terms. Money. Position what to halt this. Truth." I stated. "That's my price." Zachary stood. "She's unyielding, but she holds Norton shares since 30. If they align against leadership, control slips even without probes." Dad whirled. "Power play. We negotiate that." "Accountability," I countered, "for choices harming trusting people." Mom sank down, whispering, "Ruined everything, gone." Zachary comforted her, glaring at me. Kendra hovered awkwardly. "You pushed me out," I said quietly. "Treated me like nothing. A better way might have existed." Dad's final barb, "You're no Roberts now." I met his eyes. "I stopped being one when you shut that door." One by one, they left Dad storming. Mom pausing with mixed rage and sorrow. Zachary shaking his head. Kendra whispering, "Sorry," hollowly. Uncle Anthony lingered. Worse before better, but right choice. He squeezed my shoulder and followed. Austin locked the door behind them. "You did it." The silence settled. Remnants of pie and paper scattered, the weight of the day crashing down. I forwarded the files to Nicholas that night. Alerts lit up my screen within hours. Former staff texted, "Firms locked, agents swarming, seizing drives." Headlines broke. SEC targets, Roberts Financial on misconduct charges. Markets reacted, halting trades and sealing funds. A company bulletin declared leadership pause amid scrutiny. Family communications surged. Moms implored, "Halt this, remember blood ties." Zachary's fumed, "You've wrecked lives, satisfied." Dad's ordered, "Reach your link, withdraw claims." Kendra's ventured, "We can mend missteps aside." Their urgency mounted. But I let silence respond, watching events cascade. Uncle Anthony's alert differed. "Blame shifting, guard yourself." It foretold the storm. Evening brought pounding at my door. Through the peephole, they gathered, Mom ashen, Dad unkempt, Zachary seething, Kendra uneasy. Austin positioned nearby. I unlatched it. Dad charged forward. "What's unleashed, reverse it immediately." Mom cautioned, "Indoors discretion." They invaded my space. Atmosphere charged. "Detail your reversal strategy," Dad pressed. Restrained but fierce. "Inform them of error we salvage yet." "Nullify facts," I retorted. "Verified schemes. Pilfered resources. My reserves tapped." Mom wavered. "Our legacy, the associations. Bonds. Forged across eras. Devotion safeguards such." "Devotion?" I mocked, like siphoning my inheritance, ousting me as my saboteur ascended. Zachary erupted. "Downturn compelled it, 2019 slump. We realigned to endure. Minor, initially. Then, inevitable. She." "Silence. Zachary," Dad commanded. "Possible surveillance." The suspicion entertained me. "Proof self-evident, no tapes required." Kendra advanced. Teary. "This wounds broadly workers' futures. Backers' stakes. Negotiate discreetly." Her gall inflamed me. "You relayed my alerts, shadowed me, amid your liaison with Zachary, savored the ruse," she faltered. "It developed organically, harm unintended." Uncle Anthony arrived last, acknowledging me. Assets immobilized. Inquisitors inbound. Scapegoating bruise. Dad switched to persuasion. "Your fingerprints linger, we could imply complicity. Join us, protection assured. Else, our account alters." "Fictions fail," I asserted. "Logs confirm my barring. Absent endorsements on shifts." Mom beseeched. "We'll rectify deficits, reconstruct, reintegrate, command a sector-specify desires." "Beyond repair," I declared. "Regulators hold all." Dad proposed. "Articulate demands. Capital. Influence what quells this rectitude." I affirmed. "Be irrevocable." Zachary advanced. "She's resolute. Yet her Norton equities engage at 30 opposed command. Authority dissolves pre-scrutiny." Dad pivoted. "Authority bid. Bargain feasible." "Reckoning," I maintained, "for intentional injuries to reliant souls." Mom slumped. Annihilated totality vanished. Zachary aided her. Lansing glares my direction. Kendra loitered. Misplaced. "You banished me," I murmured. "Deemed expendable. Viable paths once possible." Dad's ultimate jab. "You're excised." I sustained gaze. "Initiated with your barricade." They exited sequentially, Dad raging out. Mom lingering with blended wrath and lament. Zachary mute departure. Kendra's vacuous apology. Uncle Anthony tarried, intensification looms, yet moral stance. He clasped my arm and departed. Austin bolted the entrance. Concluded. Tranquility descended. Littered records and untouched pastry signifying the pivot. Austin locked the door behind them. Silence wrapped around us, broken only by my ragged breaths. Papers were scattered across the table, the untouched pie a silent witness to the chaos they had left. Austin pulled me close. "It's over," he whispered. We cleaned in silence, each movement grounding me amidst the emotional wreckage. That night, sleep came fitfully, haunted by the desperate faces of the past. By morning, Nicholas's message confirmed it. "Investigation launched, your evidence is solid." The fallout was swift. Headlines screamed Roberts' financial faces federal charges in scheme probe. Clients fled, stocks crashed, and the firm crumbled under scrutiny. Dad cooperated to take a plea, heavy fines, restitution, house arrest in Weston instead of prison. His once commanding presence was reduced to monitored confines, his reputation shattered across Boston. Mom withdrew to the lake house, her social empire in ruins. Charity invitations dried up. Friends disappeared. Isolation became her reality, a self-imposed exile from the life she had meticulously built. Zachary lost his position and had to start over at a small firm in Providence, a humbling fall from his heir-apparent status. Kendra's world unraveled too. Her connections severed. Her role in the deception exposed, leaving her stranded without allies. Uncle Anthony navigated the restructuring, using his skills to protect the innocent staff. "You forced the light," he texted. "Our only contact." Janice checked in occasionally, neutral updates that slowly faded as I built firm boundaries. 1 year later, I arranged flowers in the kitchen of my Cambridge townhouse. The smell of roasting turkey and baking bread filled the air, warming the space. The table, set for 8, held notes of gratitude at each place. The scandal had reshaped everything the firm reorganized under court oversight. Ethics protocols I had indirectly influenced now in place. Dad's plea kept him homebound, a shadow of his former self. Mom's withdrawal deepened, shrinking her world to solitude. Zachary worked through his demotion, satisfaction elusive in honest labor. Kendra's attempts at reconciliation went unanswered. Trust had been broken beyond repair. Janice joined my consultancy, her expertise strengthening our growth. "Your stand inspired me," she admitted. Austin and I grew stronger, his support unwavering through the turmoil. Friends like Nicholas and his spouse Grace filled my circle, alongside former staff who had joined my firm. The doorbell rang, Janice with wine, Austin's friends with sides. Laughter filled the room as we gathered, bonds chosen, not inherited. Raising my glass, I said, "To those who stand by their principles, no matter the cost." The evening flowed genuinely, free from pretense. That painful Thanksgiving had severed toxic ties, creating space for authenticity. The consequences, legal restraints, social exile, career resets were real accountability. I thrived independently, cutting all contact, embracing a life defined by integrity rather than inheritance. The lesson lingered: justice heals, and true family emerges from shared values, not blood.